You are listening to a little bit of No Love Lost. And in the studio, of course,
you know what that means,
that
right?
is track number 11, Little Things.
If you're listening to No Love Lost, you know what that means, right?
That means there's somebody in the studio that gave us permission.
It's the Metal God.
Metal God.
Mr. Scott Board in the studio with us right now, man. This is a coup. We've been trying to get this guy since the first show. Scott, say hello and let everybody know you're here.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, this is not a call-in.
Oh, anytime, man. We've been, like I said, we've been looking forward to this, and we appreciate you bringing your new music, man. Your new project
Absolutely.
Sounds awesome.
Plus, he
man.
brought some really cool weed.
And some chicks. Hey,
yeah.
ladies, how y'all doing? Appreciate y'all showing up. And I'm glad. I'm sorry you missed the limo that we sent, but
Yeah.
It didn't. It was late.
yeah, we sent it to the Piedmont Triad, International out there.
Went to the wrong
They had a sign said
wrong
Mr.
terminal.
Board. It said Metal God on it. I guess you went to the wrong one. I don't know.
Came down the wrong escalator.
But Scott, what you been up to, man? I know you got a lot of projects. You're like the hardest working man in show business.
Well, it appears that way. Maybe online it appears that way.
On Facebook, right?
I'm always trying to put irons in the fire, but just seeing which one catch a fire first.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And some of them are burning and some of them aren't.
Oh,
but
ours has been burnt down for years. But
I'm
we're
just
still
trying to,
smoldering
keep going, and try different things. And so far, the one showing the most promise is No Love Lost. Of
right.
course.
You guys actually have a big major tour, or what's going on with
Well,
that?
actually, we just signed a really cool independent record deal with what I would call a major independent, Kibble Records, out of New
Right.
York. We're looking at doing Melodic Rock Fest in September with some really big bands.
Yeah, I was looking at the thing. What's some of the other?
Well, you've got Steve Algeri from Journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jeff Scott Soto with his band Wet.
Oh, yeah.
They'll be making their first American appearance, I think, in the United States on
He
that show.
was also with Journey too, right?
Right.
When I saw him, that was the first.
Right.
I
yeah.
got to see
Very
him.
good vocalist. You've got bands like House of Lords.
Oh God, I remember them.
Ted Poley, who sang for Danger Danger, is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
be there. You've got Eric Martin from Mr. Big is going to be
Oh,
on
wow.
the bill. A lot of big acts and a lot of the Kibble recording acts as well. Some of our band label mates, Tango Down, and some of those bands are going to be there. And also some good friends of ours and local music mates, Line of Fire, which features
okay.
Nicky DeMage
I know
and-
him.
and Sean, their lead singer, and they're going to be up there Friday night. It's an all weekend deal.
Kinda
We're
like
playing
that,
Sunday night.
What is it? The Rocklahoma thing, where they
Yeah,
have
sorta
2 or
like
3
that.
days, a rock band.
Yeah,
I always
it's a 3-day
wanted to go
thing,
to that.
and it's in a big club in Chicago, and it's going to be packed out, and they really have a big deal up there every time.
Awesome, man.
That's very good.
And we're going up early so we can see Nikki and those guys Friday
Yeah.
night. They're going to be doing an acoustic performance Friday night. So
So you guys
We're
are
really
gonna
looking
boo
forward to
them
that
and
show.
say, have No Love Lost signs. And
yeah, we're going to have all our. Hopefully, we'll have all our CDs and everything back. They're going to
Cool.
be. The album's officially going to be released in September, early September, just in time for that, I'm sure. And hopefully, we'll have all our CDs and our T-shirts and swag and different things like
Cool,
that.
man.
We're going to be setting
Of course,
up.
we
and
get
doing,
free stuff.
Right, absolutely. We're going to be setting up and doing meet and greets with fans and the whole works and stuff. And
Now, do you have your own Facebook for No Love Lost?
we do. It's facebook.com/NLL Music.
Cool,
Okay.
man.
Or if you look me up on Facebook, Scott Board,
All right.
the links are right there for us too.
Now, do you guys tweet? I hear a lot of people doing the tweet thing. And
No, not yet. We're just doing the
yeah, I'm not big on.
Yeah,
I don't
me
know
neither.
nothing about that.
Facebook right now.
Yeah, that's
it's sort of posted straight to Facebook anyway. Most of
there's an
people
official
don't
website
follow.
as well, or
Not just yet. But,
Okay.
Probably through the record.
That's going
company,
to
right?
be mainly
Yeah.
that's going to be that and the Facebook and stuff like that. It's going to be handled from the record company, Kibble Records, and we're not going to have much to do with that, as it should be really. We shouldn't have to mess with that, but that's going to be coming real soon. I'm sure there'll be a official website. for the
okay.
band.
Now, how long has the album been in the making?
Oh my God, we started this album back around 2005, 2006.
Really?
and I actually finished up the recording of it around 2010, I want to say.
Oh, okay.
Final mixes and everything. As I was telling you guys before, it's sort of like our little Hysteria.
Yeah.
7 years in the making.
Yeah, right, you know.
Now, did it start out with one set of guys and finish out with another set of guys?
It did. Initially, it was
all
us guys from the DOHRS band from back in '91, which featured Nicky on guitar and everything. And he broke away early on when we started writing our tunes to join up with Sean and do Line of Fire. And so they went that direction, and we got we had the original guys from DOHRS, actually. Jason Staten, Russ Cale was playing bass and doing a lot of the writing too. And we brought in Jeff Brooks. You guys probably remember Jeff Brooks from
His name sounds familiar.
From Zach back in the day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Very great singer, great keyboard player, and also great guitar player.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Steve Arnold.
That's right. Yeah.
Just ask him; he'll tell you.
Exactly.
He's a great
but
drummer.
yeah,
just ask him.
that really rounded the lineup out really well, and Jeff brought a lot of cool elements to the table there with the keyboards and his writing skills and vocals and stuff like that. And like I say, we just took our time and recorded this and made sure it was what we wanted. And we had a lot of time, because of taking so many years doing it, we had a lot of time to listen to the takes and go back and say, you know what, we should change this, we should change that.
And when you're in the
changed
studio,
a lot of stuff.
It sucks the way sometimes when you go in and you're paying for hour increments or whatever,
Right.
and they try to rush you through. It's like, you're like,
if we
well,
would have been in
let's
someone
try
else's
this,
studio
and-
or doing it any other way, we would have had to do it like that, definitely. So we had the luxury of doing it in a home studio type deal where
That's
we
awesome.
practiced with our drummer Brian Asbell was the producer and the engineer on all that stuff. And like I was saying, he did a lot of independent study, learning Pro Tools, Digital Performer, and getting advice from a lot of big producers and acts and stuff like that. And the end product really shows that, I think.
Well, we got to hear some of the rough stuff, and it sounded fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't
He
imagine
did
the final
He did
product.
a phenomenal job on it, and hats off to Brian for all his hard work and sweat and blood and tears through all that. But finally, it was done about finished up mixing and everything about 2010, and I really think that every song on the CD, because of the way we went back and rehashed it and reworked stuff and got to think things through, man, this would have sounded a lot better there. We had the chance to actually go back and do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, because we got to take our time with it, we got a really good product out of it. And I really think that every single song on the CD, even the slower ones, are very strong songs.
Well, they say
really
you
are.
have your entire life to make your first album, and
Yeah.
everything else is like this. Get it.
Yeah.
And it's
some of these tunes might come from back in. A lot of the tunes were newer tunes that we did, and some of them, such as "Back on the Streets," "Friend of Pain" goes all the way back to Cerebus days. One of my tunes from Cerebus
Man,
days.
that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So some of those tunes are from ideas from DOHRS era, and most of them though are newer ideas that we've written in recent years.
Tell us a little bit about. I mean, when I first moved out here, I always say that every show. I don't mean to. that's my crutch. But
he's not from around.
yeah, I'm not around. But Cerebus was like a name that I heard a lot of. Now, tell me how that. When was that? That was like in the '80s, right?
That was actually it started with. It's a long story, but
you were the drummer. That's what
actually
blew my
started
mind.
in
I
like
was
82, 83
like a
as
Steven Tyler thing.
Sort of like a metal cover thing.
y'all were like everybody said y'all were like Iron Maiden.
We did a lot of Iron Maiden and Dokken and Saxon and just everything cool and
that
heavy
cool
metal.
stuff.
Crocus,
Who was in
Scorpions.
that band?
At the time, I was playing drums. Chris Pennell, of course, on
I've
guitar.
heard that name.
Yeah.
Bruce Drake on guitar. On the other guitar, Eric Burgess, of course, on
I've
bass,
heard that name.
and Keith Watson.
I know. Yeah, his
Michael,
brother was the original.
Michael used to play drums for you guys.
Yeah.
And his little brother. And so Keith Watson was the lead singer at that time. And we went out.
I've ever heard him sing. I was around him just very little, but everybody said
Very
he
good
was a great
singer. Yeah, very good singer. And good front man. And So yeah, we went out doing the covers, signed to Showtime agency, helping us out and stuff like that. They had Max Warrior, Sidewinder,
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I heard
hell,
about
man.
Sidewinder.
all
I
those
never
bands.
got-
Max
back then,
Warrior, man.
I
Right?
didn't
Yeah,
get
they were
here-
awesome.
I
They were
didn't get here
amazing.
to 91, but you guys were still like a legendary name.
Well, yeah,
Yes,
legendary. I don't know how legendary, but
Well, how did you get so Keith quit and they moved you to?
Well, what happened was around 85, early 85 or so, we decided to can the cover band version of Service and keep the name, but start to do our own material.
Right.
We were like, you know what? So we went in the studio and did some songs in Greensboro and had a few songs ready to go in the demos. And we saw this, Eric saw this ad in the back of Circus Magazine, and it said for a compilation album, and they were looking for bands for a compilation album, and so we sent them some demos, and they liked a song that we had called "Fight the Beast," which was actually lyrically was about going against all that
devil stuff,
devil worship kind
Right.
of crap
which is
that
what
was going
Dave's
on.
all about.
But ironically, they chose that song to go on their compilation album, which was going to be called Satan's Revenge. So,
Wow.
and what it was going to do, they were intentionally putting all these, devil worship kind of bands, Venom or whoever like that, on there. And it's going to have stickers all over it, warning stickers all over it. And they were just
Explicit
they were
lyrics.
intentionally doing that to sell records, and
Yeah.
it did really good. There was actually a band on there with no music at all. They were called Enemy, NME. I don't know
that's
if they're
cool.
still around, but it was just talking and it's just whispering, and I don't know what kind of satanic backwards masking they were doing, but
Wow.
but that was pretty wild and scary. So we were the only maiden kind of band on there, and there was a
Right.
bunch of thrash bands. So after that, they offered New Renaissance Records, who put it out of Burbank, California.
Oh wow!
They offered us a 2-album deal to put out our albums, and so
Wow.
from there we started going into Sound Lab Studio in Greensboro and recording what would become Too Late to Pray, that album, which was our first album. And after that, we did another album called Banshee, Like a Banshee on the Loose, which our buddy Steve Arnold was playing
Oh,
drums
okay.
on.
Yeah.
By that point.
So how did you get to the one guy quit and they said, "Can
Well-
anybody sing?" And you said, "Hey, I can do it."
Well, yeah. Well, I was already singing and singing 2 or 3 songs a set.
playing drums
Doc, and playing drums at the same time.
That's cool.
That's
I've
like
never
Chris
heard you
does.
play drums.
I could do okay. I'm more like a straight ahead, Herman Rare Barrel Scorpions kind of drummer,
Yeah.
or
Phil Rudd.
Exactly. I'm nothing, really proficient, or none of the little curly licks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I never, looked into doing that kind of stuff.
Steven Adler wasn't very flashy in Guns N' Roses, but you know
Right.
what? If you put any other
Solid.
drummer in that spot, it doesn't sound the
Yeah,
same.
they found that out.
Yeah, they did.
Exactly. But he was solid as a rock.
Yeah.
So natural, and I had been singing with Chris and Eric before we got Keith in the band and formed Cerebus. We had a band called Bastille. We used to play all around the club circuit and everywhere. Interestingly enough, we used to play a lot with a band called Rage, which was your buddy Jimmy Henson, who plays guitar for
I've
you
never
guys.
heard
at
that one.
point.
I've only heard
Yeah, it goes
the
way back.
Mangler.
I've heard of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, this is before Mangler.
Oh,
This
okay.
is This is probably 79 and 80. We were playing.
Yeah, I've seen
Hey, I
some
was
pictures
just a
he's
young
got.
pup then.
out at 5
Yeah.
Points and different places like that. Jimmy could tell you all about those places. But
Well, I heard some stories about Jimmy and them wearing makeup and doing all
He's
these.
got
Oh, yeah.
photos.
Yeah,
of some of
yeah,
that.
I haven't seen. I mean, that would be awesome because all we
Yeah.
know is the Jimmy.
and
who comes
Alias
in.
Mangler was a great band too. I actually sang with those guys a little bit before they called it Alias Mangler.
Yeah.
It was called Deafin.
Oh, okay.
So it was me and Jimmy and Rusty Reed on guitar, and I was singing, and Terry Baker was playing drums.
Terry,
Terry
yeah.
Von
He was
Hitler.
Before he rod the bod.
Exactly. And so
I
that was
love
that was
Terry,
cool.
man.
We used to play Beatties all the time and do some really cool stuff right with that. And so not too long after that, we formed the original band and did all that. But yeah, I was singing with Chris and Eric way back, 1980.
I thought it was one of them things where you
Back
was
in
just
those
a
days.
drummer, and they're like, "What are we gonna do? We need a
No,
singer."
no,
You're
yeah,
like,
I'd
like
been a
a-
singer first.
did like
Phil
the Phil
Collins,
Yeah,
yeah.
I started back in like 1976 playing drums and singing at the same time. And
Well, if you had your, but the singing is where your passion's at, though, right?
oh yeah,
I mean, you
yeah,
like it a lot better.
definitely. Especially around
Right.
85, I knew it was,
You said the heck
with
with
all
it.
these badass drummers that were out there. It's time for me to come out from behind there.
Well, I've never
Especially
heard-
in the thrash band that we were doing, like services. Like, no, I can't do that.
Right.
We need, a Steve Arnold or somebody with
Yeah.
double kicks going.
I mean, I've always
compete.
heard though that you were a good drummer. It's like everybody always says, "Well, Scott, the singer, he used to be
Yeah.
a drummer," and I'm like, "What?"
I don't know if my meter's any good anymore, but I could still. I used to do a lot of the sound when we were doing 80s Enough, and Steve was playing with us. I'd do a lot of the sound checks, and he'd be out there,
Really?
dialing them
Yeah.
in. So
I do that too, but they
and I
get
love
mad
that,
and make
you know.
me get off. 'cause
I still love doing that, to be able to check the drums and do that.
I'd give
But that's
anything
about
if
as
I
far
could
as
do
I
it.
go
I
with
mean,
it.
Yeah.
I think it's cool as heck to be the drummer up there beating heck.
Oh, yeah, I
until
love that.
until you're loading in or loading out, then it
Yeah,
sucks
Right.
to be
yeah.
the drummer.
That's why I used to always have the scaled down, the one tom,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Right.
one floor tom
Chris
kind of
has
deal.
that too, but half
Quickly.
his equipment fell out of the back of the. no joke. Between here and Wilkesboro, he lost the
'Cause
bass
I was
drum.
not about major setups and doing all this and having cymbals all around me
Right.
and racks and all this stuff. I was like, man, just simplify this. I'm not about all that.
Well, we got to take a quick break, and
We'll
we
be
are
right
going to be right back.
With the Metal God, he's going to answer some
This
questions.
is Scott Board in the studio.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
This is the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.
This portion of the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show is brought to you by Divana Designs Screen Printing and Vinyl Graphics. Need some screen printed t-shirts for your business or special event? Give the guys at Divana Designs a call. In the industry now for 20 years with expert graphic capability, they can duplicate any existing logo or t-shirt. They're located in Lexington at 200 Leonard Road, and you can reach them at 336-489-0152. That's Divana Designs Screen Printing and Vinyl Graphics, 489-0152. Now, back to the Dirty Overhaul Rock Show.